Flint Cove Landing is an RV trailer park and marina with wide, level concrete pads, full hookups, and a gently graded boat ramp. Earl Conway works there in the office and general store that's nestled in front of the marina's rickety old dock. He keeps the shine on the restrooms and showers, stocks the vending machines, and keeps the playground and half basketball court in good shape. Earl's a real fixture around Flint Cove Landing. Even though folks know he's special, nobody's afraid of him or nothing. He's just a gentle giant. His mama was renting a trailer at Flint Cove Landing, and Earl grew up on the property like a weed, becoming a part of the place, just like the dragonflies and the dandelions. While back, Matthew Walters and Earl was thick as thieves, running around and playing and fishing. Them two went together like catfish and cornbread. They were both just kids then, with Earl being the elder of the two by age, but behind a year or two in school and general understandings of the world. Mr. Walters has gone on and made a big deal of himself. He's a well-known attorney up in greater Burlington Springs. You may have seen him recently on his billboard. "Call me Burlington," he instructs those who have been injured in vehicle or work-related accidents. Bless him, Earl didn't quite understand that message, and now he just refers to Mr. Walters as Burlington because Earl figures a man has a right to be called what he asks you to call him. Even though they ain't as close as they used to be, Burlington would sometimes call and ask Earl if he could use one of the vacant, furnished trailers. The lawyer would explain he needed someplace private to do some legal consultation with his clients just for an hour or two, and that anonymity was of great importance. The lawyer stressed that Earl was not to tell anyone about his visits, especially not the owner of Flint Cove Landing, the Honorable Judge Grant Rutherford, Jr., nor Judge Jr.'s daughter, Eleanor Ann, who Burlington himself had married. The lawyer didn't want his wife to know, Earl reckoned, because they lived up the road just a spell, and she'd probably get upset if her husband didn't take advantage of being so close to home to swing in and say hello. Earl knew that Judge Jr. had to be kept in the dark about the secret legal proceedings on his property because there'd been an episode with a similar situation on Earl's favorite cowboy TV show, Buck Bradley, U.S. Marshal. Earl was an honest man and didn't much like keeping secrets from Judge Jr., nor from Eleanor Ann, but he knew he had to just to preserve the order of the law. Because of helping to arrange these secret rendezvous for Burlington, Earl had seen the lawyer's fancy Chrysler roll on through the gravel of the marina's cul-de-sac with some pretty ladies in the passenger seat. Upon one such occasion, Earl had been outside painting lines on the basketball court when Burlington's secretary, Kelly Elliston, got out of the passenger side door draped in what Earl's mama would have called a Sunday go-to-meeting dress. Kelly caught him gawking and gave him a quick wave, so Earl got shy and quickly went back to painting. Didn't seem to him like no one else was in the car, so Earl sort of wondered what kind of private legal affairs the lawyer was conducting alone with his own secretary. Even though he never finished high school, and some folks would tell you they didn't expect Earl could even spell GED, he was smart enough not to ask questions. Weren't any of his business anywho. If nothing else, Earl was proud of Kelly for being so hands-on with Burlington's legal briefs and was sure she was taking his dictation and handling the workload well. In Burlington Springs, people can be nosy and get to whispering. Rumors could spread and would get thick as kudzu on the side of the highway. So when Earl overheard two of the trailer park residents sitting in the rocking chairs on the porch of the store and conjecturing that Burlington was cheating on his wife because they'd seen him with one of his clients, Earl wanted to explain that the lawyer was providing perfectly legitimate private legal consultations, but he promised Burlington he wouldn't say nothing to no one, so he kept his word and let him talk. Problem was, they wasn't the only two in town flapping their gums, and Judge Jr. was starting to hear tell about Burlington being unfaithful. Word was the judge, seeing as how he was well familiar with the criminal element, had found himself a private investigator to keep an eye on his son-in-law. So, the last time that familiar old Chrysler came rumbling down the gravel drive of Flint Cove Landing, Burlington pulled his car on around and parked behind Trailer 3. And at just about the same time, an unassuming Chevette pulled down and reversed into a spot in the parking lot. Earl was out scrubbing the grills and welcomed the man like a cheerful "afternoon." The man nodded, reaching into the back seat to grab a fancy camera. "Doing some bird watching, mister?" Earl asked. "Yeah," the man said gruffly, "bird watching." He fiddled with the camera, loading in a fresh roll of film, and looked at his watch, noting the time in a small notebook. After a few minutes, he walked on up the hill and started taking pictures, right interested in something he must have seen going on. Earl looked up into the trees in the direction he was taking pictures, but he didn't see no birds. He shrugged and got back to work. Earl turned his back to the trailers and was scrubbing the next grill with a wire brush when he started hearing something that didn't quite sound right. He froze in place, looking out at the water, listening real close. It sounded like growls and moans, and then Earl heard a crash, a couple of gunshots, and a woman scream. Earl didn't stop to think that it was maybe getting late in the season for a bear sighting. He sprung into action just like he knew Buck Bradley, U.S. Marshal, would. Earl turned and saw the door on Trailer 3 had been plumb destroyed. He started running towards that trailer, screaming, "Hey, bear!" in between blowing the safety whistle he wore around his neck. "Hey, bear!" Earl ripped open the Velcro in his belt pouch and pulled out the bear repellent, ready to save the day. "Hey, bear!" As Earl tried stepping into the trailer, something big rushed towards him, trying to get out. Screaming, Earl started spraying that bear repellent like it was air freshener, and he just stunk up the bathhouse. A fine orange mist coated the birdwatcher, Earl, Burlington, and Burlington's guest as well. Earl was tackled and carried out of the trailer by the trajectory of the birdwatcher's determination to escape. They hit the ground hard. As the spray took effect, Earl was flailing and flopping like a fish out of water. The birdwatcher ran to his car, yelling obscenities, and got the Chevette started just as the lawyer was making his way outside. Burlington was buck-naked as the day he was born, and he was packing. He fired his revolver blindly at the sound of the birdwatcher's car as it sped off. The lawyer damn near shot several of the neighbors who'd come out of their trailers to see what all the ruckus was about. The birdwatcher smashed into the mailbox and the sign out front with a loud crash as he escaped to the main road. Then it was dead quiet at Flint Cove Landing for the first time in a long while. It seemed like even the birds and the bees were stunned at what had just transpired. Everybody was just staring at each other slack-jawed. In that eerie silence, Kelly Elliston appeared in the doorway of Trailer 3 in a white sheet she had wrapped around herself in an attempt to maintain her dignity, having been caught so immodestly. Earl thought she looked just like an angel. Kelly broke the silence by coughing deeply. It was the kind of cough you'd hear and just know it burned in her lungs. Burlington dropped his pistol and fell to his knees. It was only then that anyone else noticed the wet red spot spreading into a butterfly-shaped stain on the sheet wrapped around Kelly. As she coughed her last, Kelly collapsed backwards into the trailer, and she died. In the struggle to secure the evidence of his indiscretions, Burlington had shot and killed his lover. A week or so after all that commotion, old Earl managed to get the mailbox upright and put the Flint Cove Landing sign back together, more or less. Earl eventually caught wind that Burlington got life behind bars with no chance of parole. He figured Burlington's ex-wife, Eleanor Ann, had got herself a brand new life as well. And that's the latest gossip out of Burlington Springs, where the tea is sweet, the veggies are fried, and the people, bless their hearts, they're just doing the best they can.